Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portal Hunter Club. I'm your host with the most, Agent Red Fox 1701. Today we're going to be talking about an awesome event. We're going to be talking about the Magnus events that are happening at Camp Navarro and Camp Schloss Kaltenberg. And today we have Agent Hapto here to talk about her project at Camp Navarro, Camp Listener. Later in the show, we also have a preview of the Bake Anomaly, Saturday, May 5th. We will be broadcasting live. But first, let's get to that interview. Today we're here with Agent Hapto, and we are talking about the camps that are coming up. There's two camps. There's Camp Navarro, and there's Camp Schloss Kaltenberg. This is the second time we're recording this episode. We had technical issues last time, and I'm still struggling with the, yeah. So these are, they call them Magnus events, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they're Magnus events.
Yeah.
And it's a unique event because it's sort of a mix of Ingress. You got a little bit of the art going on. Well, I got a lot of art going on. You have the tech side of things. It's like if you're a maker, if you're like a swag person, if you're a creative type, or if you're into techie stuff, you know, that's the kind of event that this is. And there's a little bit of Ingress involved with that too. So, yeah. So, let's see. We got, here's our two different events. There's Camp Schloss Kaltenberg, which is, I found out, a Renaissance fair. Yeah. And we have Camp Navarro, of course.
Trees for days.
Yes. So Camp Navarro, both of us were there last year, and it's in Navarro, California, way up in Northern California, almost its own state, I think. California's kind of got that weird
huge
northern southern thing.
It's just tall.
It's basically Oregon.
Basically. I'll agree.
Yeah. So it's like up in the redwoods, away from everywhere, and it's this really cool kind of camp area. And Niantic set up this event that why don't you talk a little bit about the art and stuff that's made there?
What goes on?
Yes,
So when we signed up last year, we're kind of like, we didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, it's Niantic. Who knows what's going on anyway? And so we found out that it's actually this super cool concept that when you normally ingress, you find stuff, and very rarely does a normal player have anything to do with the things that they've found. In this case, you not only you go out into the world and you build the pieces. Then those pieces become digital locations. Then those digital locations and the status of them control the light and sound of the art. So it becomes like this really super amazing feedback loop that allows this really rare opportunity for artists to interact with augmented reality. Yeah.
So they give you this Cthulhu module, which it's like this black capsule, kind of looks like a bomb. And well, it's funny because I wanted to borrow one to mess with the Mew hat.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know how I can ship this because if someone looks at it'll have to be transported like a portal key, like from player to player up here.
Yeah.
And hopefully no one gets pulled over on the way.
No. The guy who designed it actually like dismantled it into like a million pieces just to like eliminate that problem.
Okay. Interesting.
But you know.
So these Cthulhu modules, they have a bunch of chips in them, like Arduinos and stuff, and they connect the Portal network to your art.
Right.
And it's this really cool thing because, like you said, we go out and we find these portals, meaningful pieces of art and locations that other people have created. Here, you're creating it, and it's becoming a portal in the same vein. So, yeah, let's show. So, I was part of Camp Trickster last year, and each of the camps funnels one of the archetypes. Mm-hmm. There's 13 archetypes. 12 of them are player concepts, and then the final one is the Niantic one. So Misty Hannah was the trickster. So our team kind of channeled that atmosphere and created. It's cool because all these projects are different. So here's what the outside looked like, and you got the top hat. And we had smoke and lights coming out of it. And again, really cool. with the Cthulhu module, the lights change color based on the faction. So we had blue lights and green lights. And then because it's the trickster, we had all these little puzzles that went around. And that you went around and solved the various decoding puzzles. And then at the end, you got a little coin for a prize. And so that was kind of our little project. And then, like I said, it's not just art creating this creative concept with the hat and the smoke and the lasers and the sound and all that. But you have the inside of it too. So here's the inside of the hat and all the techie stuff going on in there. All that's kind of wired up and connected. And then we have the Cthulhu in there with all the, the ambient sounds and lasers and stuff. And, so you're out in the woods for Camp Navarro, and some camps are just tent camps. So you guys had, what did you all bring with you to camp?
Stuff to camp. They had actually a meal plan there, which actually is really great for a lot of people who are traveling far away, like Wisconsin or further.
That was helpful for me because I flew there, and I was like, I'm not going to carry 3 days of food in a suitcase on a plane.
Correct.
So
3 days of food or camping or dealing with coolers, like I've done that at a distance and it's kind of annoying. So the meal plan was kind of nice. Mm-hmm. But we had a tent. Others had this like Adirondack shelter, which is word there pronounced.
Yeah. So this was Camp Trickster. That's what it looked like when we got there, and they got like the 3-sided structure with the curtain, and there's just a bunch of bunk beds in there. Some of them had less of those. They maybe had 1 or 2. And then some of them were just tent camping spots. So, which is like what you guys had.
Yeah. So that was great. It was so beautiful to wake up and just like, it's just trees so far up in the sky. And it's just like, wow.
I tried to hug one of the trees.
You can't hug them. They're like hugging so beer men.
You need like the whole team there to kind of get around and
exactly. Yeah, it's really it's amazing. It was actually a construction challenge as well because if you're used to like I'm gonna tie something to this tree, you're like, oh no, I actually need like 12 people to get around the thing.
Right, and like twice as much rope or more.
Yeah. You're budgeting.
I'll just hang this flag from here, and you need a lot more than that. So you're participating again this year,
right?
And you're again doing the camp listener was sort of your the archetype that you based it off of. So do you want to show the video? Should we show the video?
Sure,
preview?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Let's there's a little preview video for Camp Listener. Let's take a look.
We can talk over it.
So tell us a little bit about the inspiration for Camp Listener this year.
So, well, we don't have an archetype anymore, a name for our guy. Apparently, it used to be Enoch Dalby.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy, and now we don't have
They
a
all
guy.
got kicked out of the Magnus by the
Thanks,
Enlightened.
Liberty.
Yeah.
You're the best. So we apparently get we get new ones, or maybe we don't get any of them. I don't know. So the inspiration for this event, this kind of installation, was like thinking about sort of technology and its role in our lives, and how, you know, it seems really easy that we are communicating with, the shapers with our little moving phones and our, little glyphy patterns. And I kept thinking back, like, what would it be like if we didn't have those phones? What would we be like how would you be convinced by this mythical alien backstory race to tell you to build stuff and do things? And how would you communicate that they've been heard and then are actually like listening to each other in this kind of communication loop?
Yeah, because if you think of the backstory of Ingress, you have ancient civilizations kind of being not manipulated, but discovering possibly other life. They're hearing, there's a lot of ancient civilizations have their own spiritual stories of how the universe began, or the messages that they see in different things, seasons and the stars and all that. And so you're sort of kind of channeling that, without the technology piece. How would it feel to be one of those civilizations?
Like if you're prehistoric, would if you built a fire in one place, and so I kind of created like this little doodad that's part of our fundraiser that is like the vision of what would they give you to trace your location.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that as you're walking around, because you'd have to be tracked, they'd have to know where you were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we don't have iPhones in the prehistoric times. You're just like banging sticks together. But what would they give you to allow you to move around the world in this tracked way?
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of like become this really cool thing, and we're sourcing a bunch of cool music and really sort of thinking about how that technology is going to interact with people and how that's all going to play out. Very exciting.
Yeah. It sounds really, it's really cool. Because, I mean, like you said, even if you take the phones away, but even with the phones, like alien civilization, the shapers, it's still, there's still some sort of mystery to it. I don't know. I think it's a really cool concept. Actually, we have some pictures from last year's camp, and so last year's this is sort of like is it version 2, or is it like it's like a new concept? Or
we're totally redoing it. So you'll see some of the glyph patterns, because last time it was basically kind of walls of glyphs and the stories kind of floated in front of each other. So as you moved around the piece, the message changed.
Yeah. Let's show us some of that. Okay, so this is what one of the panels looks like.
Oh no! This was the quilt.
Okay, yeah, this is the quilt, the big prize.
Yeah, so this was there was people who sort of raffled, and I basically took one of the NIA top secret uber special super intelligence documents, and I quilted it into this blanket. Basically. Cool. So the words are all like shred, and like Pandora's box has been opened, whatever shall we do,
Redacted.
Redacted. This quote was redacted beyond belief.
And you said there was passcodes in there too.
Yeah,
for whoever won it.
Yeah, I put had stitched passcodes into it, so they'd pull off this an easy to remove piece, and then it would be passcode, which we're putting all over. The fundraiser has passcodes all over it, and we're dropping passcodes.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And each of the, including the quilt, each of the panels had sort of this reflective fabric on it.
Right.
And that's how you got actually, I think the next picture. Yeah. So here's what the project looked like last year.
So when you came with a headlamp. So the project wouldn't do anything if you just didn't bring any light. And so it's kind of this metaphysical, metaphorical story that if you bring light to the world, you get light back. That things happen that way, and it's not, if you bring darkness to the world, you get nothing. Yeah. So so this is kind of, it's actually a continuation of work that I've done for about 15 years now.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, I've been making retroflective art in the trees for some time, and and I liked that the story changed, and I loved that people didn't know what to do with it. Because they're like, wait, like, for example, the guys came with all the video cameras and all the stuff, and they said, turn off your light. And I was like, you don't get it, guys. We need the light. And I had to, like, rig up the camera guy. Otherwise the camera would be like, right. What's going on here? And why is this boring?
So, and you had mentioned that you had the different panels set up so that the glyph patterns kind of set a message, but then if you were behind it or on a different angle or something, you could see different messages. So I think that's, in a backstory, if you talk about glyph research, there's each of the glyphs kind of has, sometimes there's double glyphs, or if you rotate a glyph, it means something different, like past and future, or like the different things. You get all those different patterns. So it's cool that you could like look a different way on these glyphs and kind of get different meanings from them. Yeah. And some of these panels, like, they reacted different to different light.
Right. So if you brought black light, if you brought red light, if you brought green light, if you brought any light. Even in one case, we had a group photo, and the sunlight bouncing through the trees like gave it this like yellow hue.
Oh, yeah.
And it has really cool. This really kind of like, do you ever see Contact?
Yes. Yep.
So where Jodie Foster's like, she's in the pod and she's like, the whole world is right there. Mm-hmm. And they and it's like that same sort of silvery quality when you're not really looking, or it'll just flash at you when it'll be like, hey. So,
cool. Yeah.
So
are you listening? The shapers are there.
Yeah. Are you listening?
So here's a picture. This was the team from last year, right?
Right. Yeah, so you can see how the listener banner in the middle is actually kind of shining.
Yeah.
But it wasn't super bright, like in the black light picture.
Oh, okay.
So it had,
so you like angled it to get the
right.
Otherwise, it'd just be a plain. Like,
we didn't actually plan it. They were just kind of standing up there, and that wind blew it just that way at that moment.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
It's really ephemeral and really hard to document. Mm-hmm. But yeah, our camp was amazing. We had actually a cross-faction camp.
Cool.
So we had people from Florida, we had people from Green Bay, we had people from California, and I think Ohio and Upper Michigan, and then Arizona and Montana. So
and you said you had done this before with some people, and you were actually, or not this project, but this similar type of thing, and you brought people with you that had never done this kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think that would probably be like, from like an advice standpoint, is anyone who's doing a cross-faction team, bring people who don't ingress, because then you kind of always have like a buffer of social activity, which was super fun. And of course, my friends who came we had done projects before, and they were wonderful, and they jumped on board. I think they're like level 4 now or something. Really high level, super elite.
You're like, hey, I want to make art in the woods,
and they're like,
also there's this little game thing that you might have to do, and they're like, sure, why not, whatever.
Yeah. So anyone who's going to come along who's I think it just speaks to the people who show up that they're kind of cool, because they're willing to just like show up and nerd.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of events that have this sort of creative aspect to it, where you're doing augmented. You never would think an augmented reality game would be able to, promote such an artistic or creative project.
I think a lot of it is sort of inspired by Burning Man itself. That you would come to a place, and there's regional events also where you come to a place, you build a thing, and then you take it away. Yeah. But Ingress has this extra sort of augmented reality that none of the other events have. I've gone to Burning Man like 8 times, and there's no. There is. They brought the portal out last year. The Niantic portal.
I heard that was so they could keep their Sojourner going.
I think they maybe lost it because they were promised Wi-Fi and they didn't
There you
get
go.
any.
Yeah.
So it was like at the beginning of the week you could kind of, get some because there wasn't the whole city hadn't shown up.
Oh right, yeah.
And then you could get some towards the end, so I was actually able to kind of hack that one and then the man and then
Okay.
But they weren't there was almost no signal. Because everyone was, trying to Instagram, like, look at this cool thing. Right. And so anyway, but I'm super excited to see what everyone brings this year. Everyone's been really hush hush. The first year, everyone was like, look at what I'm doing. Hey, look. And now they're like,
there's a lot of mystique between the teams. And I think they're getting that somewhat from you. Where it's like, there's this mysterious project. We don't really know what's going on, but here's a bunch of like, I don't know, ambiance with the story, and I don't know. I can kind of see it.
From me, I think I'm just lazy. That's what I think. I'm in the swag mines. This is not. This is not. Yeah. I don't know if it's actual mystique. It's I've done this so many times that. I'm like, well, you either want me to make art or you don't. So my proposals are kind of a little probably weak. Actually, I think I talked to some of the guys from Niantic last year, and even though like Trickster, Liberty, the Heart, and our projects all finished, we finalized. I don't know how they structured it, whatever. We all did very well, and he was like, I was so worried about your project because
the other ones are so massive. Like the Trickster had all that wiring and all that stuff. And the Luminescent Heart had, the lights. That they were all about the lights and the heart beating and all that kind of stuff, and the resonators around there. And they were all these massive things, and yours just was kind of like mysterious and just out there. But it still fit in with the. With the.
Well, I mean, it was originally designed to be an analog thing. I didn't know I could get anybody to come along.
Oh, with the techie stuff.
No, just anything. Well, the tech was totally like opaque. Mm-hmm. When it first came out, I was like, okay, Art in the Woods, I'm in, done. Yep. And so I was like, this is what I will do, and this is what I can do as one person. And so my proposal was just very, very like reserved. I was like, I'm gonna make this stuff. It's probably gonna have this stuff in it, and they were just like, what happened? I was like, well, we found people. We had each other all of a sudden, and we were able to do it.
Speaking of, we have some pictures of that. So here, this is making one of the panels,
right?
And this was a Burning Man one, right?
No. This was there.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
I can see the glyphs.
Yeah, it was kind of in the back, and so this was actually sort of an experiment with hand painting. So we had the human glyph and the shaper glyph and all the glyphs, and there we were kind of making this big sort of primal Ada.
Oh, I could see it. That's really cool.
So that when you get to the back, there was kind of like a little hangout area where like Ada was.
So it's like a, it kind of reminds me of like a Mayan calendar where they got all this stuff going around, and but it's neat. So you're using just fat, like what kind of? Oh, here's the ironing. Lots of ironing involved.
The iron works, which sounds more badass than it really was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we, most of the reflective stuff is an iron-on thing. It comes in lots of forms. You can get it in lots of ways. I have an industrial resource, so it requires a lot of ironing. So setting up the space to kind of work was an interesting challenge because it's the panels are big.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And so they're at minimum 60 inches wide.
Here's one of them lit up with
just the flash from the camera.
Yeah.
With
Mr. T2, you could see how big one of the panels was.
Yeah, so they're definitely like significant size, and the fabric we used was super slippery, so they're like falling on the floor. Yeah. And trying to keep your art orderly is really difficult. But yeah, so we actually got together. We had work days, and we had a really great time sort of making that happen. And people would come up and we would all sit and we'd iron and we'd talk and be like, what glyphs do we want to do? What do we want to say? I was like, make the glyph, the story will happen.
Yeah.
So.
Let the shapers speak to you.
Yes. Downloading shapers.
So, and you're looking for people this year to help
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the,
We're always
the
open to all
project.
sorts of
Yeah.
people who want to come and help.
What kind of help are you looking for?
Well, if you're in Wisconsin, call me because we're totally gonna do some work days. Other than that, we have if you want to show up on camp and just help us install, you're welcome to do that. We've got a tech team, we've got a puzzle team, we're making swag stuff. Yeah, really just, we will find some way to use whatever skills you want to use. If you come along. So you can, click the little listener button in the application and or write to us and be like, hey, what are you guys about? I don't know. We're a pretty chill camp.
Yeah,
we have campsite, so I think that might be a thing for some people.
It's such a, I don't know. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. I've done Operation Essex. I've done operations. I've done anomalies. I've done all this stuff, and Camp Navarro is like completely different from anything else. And if you're looking for something new in Ingress to do, this is something you gotta try. Like I said, it's a place unlike anywhere else on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's so far away from everyone, yet you're there with your close knit Ingress group. It really did a good job giving you the feel of, you're a part of this mysterious event, and
Mm-hmm.
you can feel the XM.
And you're just running around, and there's like P.A. Chapeau, and
right, and Hank was there,
Kodama,
and all that.
Or who knows is going to be this year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who is? Well, anyway, so you're just walking around like, oh, and they're like wandering around like being human beings, and being like, so tell us about that thing.
Yeah, we're in line, and like we're in line for breakfast, and Hank Johnson's just like, hey guys, how's it going?
And you're like, do you even talk to real people?
Right, yeah.
I don't. What?
And so they do you got the portals, you got the art project, and last year they had an anomaly there.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do this year. They haven't really talked about it, but last year's was it was interesting because they did various anomaly games. My favorite though that I want to talk about was the mission relay.
Yeah.
Where they had, so you have all the portals around, you have all 13 portals, and I think there were like 4 or 5 extra ones that were just there from the camp from being there. And each faction had their own mission that they had to accomplish, and the resistance one went like this way around camp, and the enlightened one went the other way, which was nice because you didn't have everyone all crowded around all the projects and everything. And they had you, each portal had a question about the story or the sensitives or that kind of thing. And one person would have to run back to the camp, show the Niantic person that you accomplished that question or that you answered the question correctly. And then you can move on to the next one. And they would give you a location for a dead drop. Mm-hmm. So they had clue cards around everywhere. And I almost got one. I actually had one. I was like, I'm going to get a clue card. And I ran back and I went to the location. It was gone. And so I don't know if someone else picked it up while they were, maybe the Enlightened had the same dead drops in it because they were ahead of us. I think at the very end, we beat them at the mission relay, but it was a close match, but it was cool because it's something we've never done before with Ingress with the mission relay, and I kind of like that event. I think it was a nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was. I really enjoyed when it tried to be like Ingress summer camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I kind of came from like the Burning Man art making side, and so it was really fun to be like everyone gets to be kind of like little like grown up kids. And
right,
yeah.
I
get spaghetti, and they're like, little
summer camp. You have like
there was
little games, like instead of a volleyball or a softball thing, or there was a shard tug of war.
No, an actual tug of war.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
They had an actual tug of war. They did like totem pole carving.
Yes.
And they did the mission relay, and then they did the shard little mini shard game, which was super fun because you didn't have to go to any islands.
Oh right, yeah. You didn't have to camp out on Lake Minnetonka in the middle of winter.
Totally worth it.
Yes. And one thing I totally forgot about, they did a remote participation event. They had the tabletop, And the tabletop, right. Yeah, I completely forgot about that until now. They had the tabletop ingress game where you were one of the characters, and they actually found dungeon masters, expertly trained professional dungeon masters to do the maps were of the camp. They had like specially designed maps of the camp. They had the story that you went through during the remote participation event ended up having to do somewhat with the anomaly and the questions and some of the things like Hank Johnson and them were talking about. So it was cool how they blended all these events kind of into one experience. And you're playing the tabletop and you're like, wait a minute, that's right over there. And they're talking about some of the different things that happen. It's a there's so much stuff to do there.
We didn't see much of it because we were just sort of building art and hanging out.
But
but
there's something for everyone.
Yeah,
there,
and then there was like sneak previews of like some top secret.
They had one screenshot of Ingress Prime that they accidentally showed. No. I think a couple episodes ago we had one of the videos from Japan. So they've got more than just that screenshot. So yeah, and they had the longest link competition. We almost won that. We were so close. The Enlightened tried to field the camp, and what happened was the Northern California Resistance put a box around the camp with links so that the Enlightened couldn't link out. Luckily, our Camp Trickster, we had a couple who was from the area. And so they had keys from all over. There's people from all over. I didn't have any local keys except the camp. These people had keys from all over Northern California. So we created a box to hopefully keep the Enlightened, because whoever had the longest link at a certain checkpoint, they won the points for that thing. So we created the box, and the couple had one portal key that was like right on the corner of the box. And so we shot that link, and we defended the heck out of that portal. And I think we either shot it from your portal or my portal. I can't remember which one. We were running around like crazy.
It wasn't ours. We had too many. We had too many Enlightened in camp to allow that to be a possibility at all.
So we fired the link. That link went down, and they took down that link was up, but the Enlightened took down the box, and they were able to link to Hawaii because of the field from before. And so it was already kind of pre-cleared. Right. But they linked to Hawaii at the very last second and won that. But I remember Andrew saying that we took the portal down 12 seconds after the anomaly ended. So we were this close. And we had like a ragtag team. I used every single bomb, every single Ultra Strike. I used all of my gear. I had 0 gear when I came home. And there's like 100 Enlightened or more. And, they're screaming, get the rezos, get the shields, I'm like, it's just like 15 of us here against your entire legion of troops. And, it was like the 300 defending the thing from the Persians. Yeah. That's how I felt. I was Leonidas. Yeah. I was Leonidas, and Dogboy was there with his, golden throne of Enlightened around him.
That's all right. He's cool. He can have his throne.
Yeah. So we were this close, 12 seconds from defeating them. I was so proud of our team, though, for fighting tooth and nail for that and doing the mission relay and everything.
Yeah, because I think I had like 6 rezos left, because it was that same time they were doing that competition.
Oh yeah, there was the builder
deploy.
Yeah. You had to make so many unique deploys, and so everyone was low on resonators, and they're like, "There's an anomaly. I have no gear." I'm like, "Hack what we can." We tried our best, and it was we did a really good job, I think.
We did.
Holding out. So, well, thanks for coming on the show again,
thanks.
Camp listener. If you need any help, find Agent Hapto here on the social media channel. She's pretty easy to find, I think.
Or you can ping me in game, and I'll be like, "Hey," and I will be like, we can do this old school.
Yeah, and they're looking for all sorts of help from all walks of life. So if you think this is your kind of thing, give her a call.
Yeah,
and or email the show portalhunter@resradio.net, and I'll direct them to you.
Yeah, and check out our fundraiser, because art is expensive. This is cool.
Look at that.
and you can see light through it. And so anyway, yeah, you should totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
One
Awesome.
or the other,
Yeah.
We'll take all the help we can get, and we're gonna make some awesome art in the woods and have a great time and see whatever else is building. I'm really excited to see whatever else is building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. Well,
Cool.
thanks again for coming.
Awesome.
And we'll have you on the show again soon.
Yay! Bye.
Thank you, Agent Hapto, for that wonderful interview about the Magnus events. Hopefully that encourages all of you to either participate in one of these events or help out with one of the projects, especially Camp Listener. If you'd like to help Camp Listener with their project, we're going to have a link to the Indiegogo site for them in the description of this video. Feel free to help them out. They need a lot of help. Or if you're willing to help out with the project itself, give Agent Hapto a message and she'll be glad to get you all into that. Next, the Baconomaly is next Saturday, May 5th at 1 p.m. Central Time. We actually have some secret intel about the Baconomaly, so let's show this intel here. Okay, so the Baconomaly, we've got some details. You want to be there before 12:30 p.m. Central Time so that you can register and check in with your teams and everything. 1 p.m. Central is the start time for the Baconomaly, and it goes for an hour. Here's a little bit of their scoring there. And Portal Hunter Club will be live broadcasting the Baconomaly. So you want to make sure you check in Saturday, May 5th. We're going to be live. We're going to be interviewing people. We're going to be talking about the scores. It's the first ever live broadcasted anomaly. So this is going to be an awesome event. Remember, next week, Saturday, May 5th for the Baconomaly. Hope you all enjoyed the show today, and we will see you all next week for the Baconomaly, Saturday, May 5th. Thanks for watching today.